So very good afternoon to one and all, a respected resource person for this afternoon session, Professor Dr. Yogendra Verma, sir.
Hello.
Yes, welcome, sir. So on
Namaskar.
behalf of UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, I welcome today's resource person, Professor Dr. Yogendra Verma, sir, to this afternoon session of this NEP orientation and sensitization course. Professor Dr. Yogendra Singh Verma, sir, former Vice Chancellor and Pro Vice Chancellor of Central University of Himachal Pradesh, Dharmshala, served as a Central University of Himachal Pradesh in various capacity as a Dean, School of Business and Management Study, Officer on Special Duty, Special Officer Development, and Controller of Examination. Earlier in Himachal Pradesh University, Professor Verma was founder director of UGC HRDC, earlier known as Academic Staff College, for 20 years. He has also held the position of Director, Institute of Integrated Himalayan Study, UGC Center of Excellence, Dean and Director, Business School, and Director, IS Coaching Center. Professor Verma served Government of Nepal as a Colombo Plan Expert in Business Administration, associated with Tribhuvan University, established under Institute of Management from 1983 to 1985. He is one of the expert panel of National Commission on Academic Accreditation and Assessment in Saudi Arabia. He has assisted King Saud University, Riyadh, and Tabuk University, Tabuk, NAC, Bangalore. And also, he has worked in Nepal also. He has also assisted more than 100 institutions as a chairman, member, coordinator of NAC peer since 1999. Award bestowed on him include Commerce and Management, Shiromani Award, Lifetime Award, Management Excellence Award, Man of the Year Award, Ford Foundation Award for his outstanding contribution in academic and educational administration. He served on a number of national level committee contributed by UGC, AICT, UPSC, and NAC. Recently, he worked on UGC committee which developed guidelines for induction of students, guidelines for induction and mentorship of teacher in higher education, guidelines for institutional development plan for higher education institution in persuasion to NEP 2020. He has 10 books to his credit and more than 116 research paper published both in national and international level. Dr. Verma has produced 17 PhD students. As a co-principal coordinator, he has completed a major UGC-sponsored major research project of rupees 1 crore 5 lakhs on e-Pathshala in subject of management, under which 600 e-module has been produced and available on YouTube and Implement website. So again, I welcome him to this afternoon session, and I would now hand over the session to him. He will deliver a talk on academic leadership, governance, and management. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Abdul, and the director of this MMTTC, and all the participants. I'm very happy to be with you and interact with you on a very important topic, that is academic leadership, governance, and management. Well, friends, as far as NEP 2020 is concerned, its all emphasis, the focus is on improving the quality of education. And when it talks about higher education, more emphasis is on holistic, interdisciplinary aspect. And the whole concept of NEP is based, or you can say rooted, in Indian heritage, culture, and philosophy, and the constitutional values, as is, of course, propagated in the document. Now here, today, we will be talking about leadership, governance, and management in higher education. So actually, you will find there are different type of people. Some people surprised what is happening. There is one other category. They see the things, okay, happening, they are casual, let it happen, it is happening as such. But there are other categories of people, and that is make things happen. So making things happen is more a concern in this lecture rather than how it happened. They feel surprised, some people, or other category, those who are very casual. Let the things happen as they are happening. But there is one very important category that they make things happen. They don't have any excuses that, well, things don't happen because of this reason, that reason. But they are the people who are the real leaders. And it is very rightly said in one couplet that लोग कहते हैं बदलता है जमाना अक्सर, मर्द वो हैं जमाने को बदल देते हैं. That means the person is more important, the person who changes the world. So that is the leader. And here, when we talk about leader in academics, now that leader is not in the same sense as we use the term. इस टर्म को हम बड़ा लाइटली यूज करते हैं, लीडर की टर्म को, जैसे पॉलिटिकल लीडर. Normally what we understand is political leader is the leader and rest are not leaders. Similarly, in the corporate world, a teacher may not be a leader in that sense. But if you see the task, the responsibilities, and the type of influence which leader creates, then teacher is truly a leader. Of course, he is in the academic field, but how he is leader and how it can make a difference. In fact, our academic institutions, if they are well led, sometimes it is said that institutions are overmanaged and less led. This statement is very significant. Overmanaged, overgoverned. There are many rules, regulations, universities run by Universities Act, ordinances, rules, norms. But even then, even if it is so, they may not be very qualitatively high, or they may not achieve the vision with which these institutions are established. Why? Because they are under-led. That means leadership is something different from management, from governance. So when we go on discussion, and I'm sure you will be participating in the discussion, because this is the time when you have had your lunch. I also had my lunch. तो आपने मुझे जगाए रखना है, ऐसा ना हो कि मैं ही सो जाऊं. So it will be appreciated अगर आप बीच में प्रश्न पूछते रहें और मैं भी आपसे कुछ पूछता चलूंगा, so that we really, because my purpose is not to talk to you on the theory. My purpose is not to overburden you with a lot of theoretical concepts or what is that or what is this, but to just get sensitized to the practical aspects and how, as a teacher, I can turn out to be a good academic leader. So with this, now who is a leader? When I'm talking about a college, I'm talking about a university. So in there, to whom you will describe a leader? As I told you that every teacher is a leader. If you see the dictionary meaning of leader, teacher, and God. So there is a lot of similarity, because all three are engaged in the process of creation, nurturance, and destroying the ignorance. God is also in the same business as we are. So leader or teacher is also doing the same thing. So here, in the academic sense, who is the leader? Or in any field, whom you can describe a leader? Would you please give your some comments so that that becomes our further basis for discussion? Who is a leader? Whom you can describe a leader? Yes, please. A leader, a person in authority? A leader who is an intelligent person? Or is a leader who is a creative person? Or a resourceful person? Or a person who influences? What do you think? Yes, please. Any one of you who can. Yes. Yeah, Madam Neelam, would you like to respond? Sandeep? No, all of these or any one of these? You see, partially it is true. Normally, we will describe a person who is in authority or who is in a position. We may call him a leader. Or in the academic field, we'll say the person who is intelligent, who is good in his subject, is a leader. The person who is creative, when you talk about the research or technology, the person who is resourceful. If a person is depending totally on others, you may say that, oh, he is dependent, he is not a leader. A person who can influence. Interestingly, a leader, just like a, no, this is a process where one converts the subordinates or the people with whom he is working into a useful resource, like some secret chemical that turns a caterpillar into a butterfly. So there is something in the person which converts a person into an effective person. Or, in other words, he is able to motivate, influence other person to his own thinking. That, if I want you to go with me to help me in executing some task. Now, how I convert you, how I make a change in you. So that influence is a very important, and mostly this influence is very subtle. So we see that great institutions, big institutions, organizations, they have been built by people whom we describe as leaders. Actually, leader is a person who identifies, who develops channels and enriches the potential. So that means a leader is a person who is different from ordinary person. He not only commits people to the goals, but also pool needed resources, guide and motivate subordinates. So that means leader may be a person who is in a authority, because from where the power to the leader comes? From where the power to the leader comes? Like when we are talking about a teacher, from where the power comes, where he can influence others? From where the power comes to the leader? From, please respond. Otherwise, I know I'll continue to speak, and this will also give me, this will also motivate me that you are going with me, or you are helping me to explain. Yes. Any one of you? From where the leader draws the power? Yes. See, a leader draws power from two sources. One is the organizational position. For example, if one is head of department has got certain powers, have got certain authority through which he or she influences. The other source from where one draws the power is his own personal power. And that personal power is drawn from his knowledge, from his character, from his value system. So these are two sources of knowledge. Now, as far as teacher is concerned, teacher is drawing that power not from the position he has, but more he draws from his knowledge. You must have seen that the teachers who are knowledgeable, who are good teachers, who are effective teachers, they are more respected, more accepted. So in case of academic leadership, more power comes from the personal knowledge, personality, the character, the value system. One thing about the leadership is, leadership, it is said, is the culture of endurance excellence that a leader leaves behind after he or she has long gone from the scene. You see, the leadership is not necessarily in the presence. For example, a teacher gives assignment to the class and leaves the class and says that, okay, I will come after 1 hour and I hope you will complete the assignment. Let me tell you, in one situation, maybe the students decide not to do anything, do gossiping. In other situation, all of them may very seriously undertake the project. And when the teacher comes, he finds that they have completed their work. No, here, the two teachers are different in their personality. One who is taken very seriously, the other who may not be taken seriously. And that much comes from their own personal knowledge, on their expertise, their personality. So even if the leader is not present, the real leadership is where people remember, or people feel the leadership even if the person is not present. Now, if a person is doing work very seriously because leader is watching him, then that's not real leadership. Real leadership is when the subordinate accepts that he will complete the work even if leader is watching or not. So that is the difference between management and leadership. It is also said that a great leader is doing the right thing. Management is doing things right. So doing things right and doing right thing is the difference. Now, for example, the efficiency of a government department, you may say, depends on whether the budget has been utilized or not. Okay. Department says that, okay, we have utilized the budget. That is doing things right, as per the rules, as per the permission. But important thing is the expenditure conducted on the right items where it was required to be done? So that is a leadership, doing right things. And more so, more effective leadership is doing right things in right manner. So, well, as I told you that leadership is 12% of effective management is knowledge, as per Stanford research. They say that 88% leadership is dealing appropriately with people. That means it is more person-oriented leader. Personality is more important. Communication is more important. Life skills are more important than the mere knowledge. But very important, interesting definition of leadership. You'll find hundreds of definitions of leadership because anyone thinking about leadership or doing research, starts defining leadership in his own way. One Lord Moran, the definition which I liked most, because in my academic inning, I can say that, well, I have guided about 5 PhD in the field of leadership and trying to find out what is leadership. So in different contexts, in different situations, the leadership takes a different form. But here, there is one person, the definition I like is by Lord Moran. Lord Moran was a doctor by profession, physician. During the First World War, of course, he was attending the this soldiers who were getting wounded or during wartime. He was a physician, and there also he tried to understand what is leadership, how people in the positions they behave, how they get things done. And during Second World War also, and at that time he was a personal physician to Winston Churchill. And Winston Churchill was the hero of winning the war. So there also he tried to understand, and then in his writing, he has defined leadership in a very interesting manner. All the words in this para are very important. He said, leadership is the capacity to frame plans that will succeed. So true leader is one whose plan will not fail. If it fails, then he is not a leader. So very clearly he mentioned that leadership is the capacity to frame plans that will succeed and the faculty to persuade others, and the faculty. And that means he has the skills, he has the talent, he has something in him where he can persuade others to carry them out in the face of all difficulties. So you see, the leader has that capacity. He has such a persuasive power that he can persuade others to carry plans even at the cost of their life. So that is the true leadership. That means a leader must have the capacity. Capacity means that he must have the skills, he must have competence to frame plans which will succeed. So that means he's a visionary, he's a person who can analyze the situation very well. And at the same time, he can persuade others. He has that persuasive power that others join hands to achieve the objectives. So while we are talking about the leadership like this, one more thing I would like to share with you. There's something which comes out about the leadership definition. In Mahabharata, we know
So participant, so person sides are technical issue. Wait some time.
Yes, sir, your screen is visible. Just unmute yourself, sir. Verma, sir.
No, it's okay.
Yes, yes, it is okay.
Okay. Sorry, I think unexpectedly the net
No issue, no issues.
appeared. Okay, just I was sharing that when I was looking for a definition of a leadership, one very interesting understanding which I got is from Mahabharata, where we know the story of Pandavas and Kauravas. Pandavas won the war, but they didn't know how to rule because that's now the skill required. And how to be a king is itself a learning. But from the very beginning, they have been in the forest. उनको कभी मौका मिला ही नहीं कि राजा क्या होता है, लीडर क्या होता है. And the Bhishma was the commander of Kauravas. लेकिन भीष्म पितामह को जो कहते हैं कि वो तीरों के बेड के ऊपर, एरोस का बेड के ऊपर he was waiting for the death. So what happened when Pandavas have won? कृष्ण ने कहा कि ओके नाउ यू टेक ओवर और मैं चलता हूं. But then Pandava told that, well, Krishna, we don't know how to rule. We have not learned. No one has trained us how to be a good ruler. So what to do? You rule the country. Krishna said that, well, that I go to my kingdom, but I can give you one advice. Go to Bhishma Pitama. He can tell you how to rule, how to be a good leader. And then they go there. Now here Bhishma Pitama tells them, they request him that you tell us the secrets, how one can rule better or be a good leader. So there is a lot of wisdom, what Bhishma Pitama told Pandavas. Broadly, I have put it into 4 categories. One thing which he said, and that is very much applicable in corporate world as well as in the education institutions. He said it is the duty of the king to rule and rule well. First duty is to rule the nation. Now, if one is a vice chancellor or one is a principal or one is a head of department, now the duty is defined. You have to rule. You have to manage the affairs. But it is expected that you do it well. That's very important. And then Bhishma says that it is actually the action that shapes destiny, not other way around. So you can make things happen. That's what he is trying to tell. जैसे एक Chinese proverb भी है that says, as you sow, the type of thought you sow, you will reap a tendency. Sow a tendency and reap an activity. Sow an activity and reap a habit. And when you sow a habit, you reap a character. Sow a character and reap a destiny. Sow a destiny and reap the nation. So the whole nation depends on, that means, upon one thought. So we can shape our destiny. Destiny is in the hands of the individual. By positive thoughts, by constructive thinking, well, he can shape his destiny, not his, but the nation also. Another thing he says that the character is very important. The king's conduct should be very ideal. Like he should have humility, self-restraint, righteousness, straightforwardness. These are the essential for any success. So as a teacher, it's important that we have self-restraint, that control over our senses. And humility is one very important characteristic. It is expected and it is said, Vidya Dadati Vinayam, that the education should give you humility. और ह्यूमिलिटी होगी तो उससे पात्रता बनेगी, और जब पात्रता बनेगी तो आप धर्म का काम करेंगे, ठीक से पैसे कमाएंगे, अपनी ड्यूटी को अच्छी तरह से निभाएंगे. Righteousness, that one follows the dharma. So important thing which Vishnu is talking about leadership is that one should have one own personal character as well as the national character. Further, he says that self-interest. He says that every person on this earth has some selfish interest. And because of this selfish interest, they expect that they should be attended, or they should be treated, they should get good honorarium, they should get good salary. So it is the duty of leader to fulfill their interest. Now, sometimes a leader may think that why should I? They are very selfish people. But remember, you have been given the leadership role only for this purpose, that you have to fulfill their interests. You have to fulfill the interest of the organization. Another thing which is very important for the leader is that his first duty is to his people. Like for a teacher, the duty is towards the students. तो ज्यादा करके हमारा that is data collection, data maintenance, writing reports, and students are neglected. I think that's not fair. His first duty is towards the students and must take care of them, must take care of the students. He should be guarding them as a mother guards her child. That's very important. A leader. Now, you may be thinking that I'm talking about idealism. So much idealism. But remember, it is said that idealism in practice is leadership. All those great leaders, great teachers, they were the people with certain ideals. They followed these ideals in their life. And that is why they became good leaders. A leader guards the subordinates, the students, like mother guards her child. अब छोटा सा एग्जांपल आप देखें, monkey mother. Have you seen monkey mother carrying the small child just very near to the chest, and even jumping from one tree to another, one branch to another branch, but never leaves the child. Similarly, this is the responsibility of the teacher, the take care of the children. When you talk about a leader, these 4 words are very important. I think you can easily remember. Be, do, see, and tell. Here you see the maximum area is covered by be and then do. Be and do together, I think, occupies more than 80% area. And then see and tell. Each word is important. that the leader first be, and then do. When you say be, that means he must have certain qualities. He must have certain knowledge. As I told you, the knowledge, his personal character, his value system, his commitment, his attitude. You know, if the what type of attitude the leader should have? Leader should be very optimistic. He never accepts the defeat. He looks at the defeat as a opportunity, as a challenge. That, well, now I have to think differently. So he has to be example. He has to be role model. He has to be optimist. He must have a positive thinking that where things will be done. He sees, the silver lining in the black cloud. I just share with you the story of Hillary. Hillary, the first man to Hillary and Tenzing, they climbed the Mount Everest. But what happened? It was the second time that they could reach Mount Everest. First time, just Mount Everest, the peak was about 15-20 meters away. But Hillary couldn't venture to climb, and he had to return back. तो जब वो वापस आ गए, he was totally depressed. एक हताश थे कि हो नहीं सका. And most of the time he used to live inside. One day, the principal of his alma mater school came और उनको रिक्वेस्ट किया कि प्लीज कम एंड address our children. You motivate them. He said, what motivation? Hillary said, what type of motivation? I have not done anything. Rather, I was defeated. I couldn't reach Mount Everest peak. Then the principal said, no, sir, it's not like that. You are still the first person who has seen Mount Everest peak so closely. So you have done it. Now Hillary started thinking, yes, that is very true. I have seen Mount Everest very closely. Only thing is that I couldn't reach the peak. He accepted the assignment. And when he goes to the school, standing on the stage, on the other corner of the stage, he saw that they have put a picture of Mount Everest. And when he looks at the Mount Everest, something happens to him. He just cried, looked at the Mount Everest and said, "Oh, Mount Everest, you have defeated me once, but remember, now I will defeat you because I'm growing, you are not growing." That is the optimism. Hillary then made a second attempt, and of course, he kissed the Mount Everest. So it's the optimism. So you have to be. That means the qualities of leadership has to be incorporated inside. These values. Now, what is happening in our country? Maybe, I look to be little pessimistic. Are we really serious in our profession? Is the leadership serious about the nation? Educational leaders, how much serious they are about the education? How much honest they are? Remember, more than any knowledge, more than any expertise, what matters more is the value system. Here again, I tell you the real story. It is not a imaginative story. It is the real. We know that C.V. Raman, Nobel laureate, he brought this prestige to India. After his retirement, he thought that I must contribute to the science. So he established one institution and he wanted to recruit the best minds in physics. So nationwide advertisement was given. Students, they were screened. The number of posts were only 5. Interviews were held. The interviews were over because the last round in which C.V. Raman was himself sitting. So interview was over. It was evening. He comes out of his house for evening walk. And there he sees that there is one gentleman who has appeared in the interview and he didn't perform well. He's standing there. Rather, he's following him. So Dr. Raman, he stops and he asks, yes, gentlemen, what do you have to say? Now interview is over. And I'm sorry, your interview was not good. Then this person said, sir, I don't want to know about my interview because I knew that my interview was not good. But I have to something to say. He said, what do you have to say? Sir, actually, because those who were all called for interview, they were given TADA. So, sir, I have been given TADA, but I have been given 7 rupees extra. So then Raman said that he could have asked, he could have returned, told the accountant. He says, sir, that's okay. I went to the accountant and told him that these 7 rupees you have paid me extra. But then accountant said, okay, now we have already closed the accounts. So you can keep these 7 rupees. But sir, I can't keep these 7 rupees. So I was looking for someone who can help me. And now because you are the head of the institution, so kindly take these 7 rupees. Now C.V. Raman took these 7 rupees and he told that, okay, you come tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So next day, when C.V. Raman meets this young man, C.V. Raman told that, Mr., as per your merit, as per your knowledge, you were rejected. But because of your honesty, because of your this value, you are selected. And this gentleman who was selected, he did his work very diligently, honestly. And he worked in America. There he was awarded Nobel Prize. Subramaniam Chandrasekhar. And he has written in his book that 7 rupees changed my career, changed my life. So, that's very important. Any effective leader, great leaders, they are having excellent character. Their value system, their discipline, their commitment, that is different from others. So first be. Now, I expect my students to be hard worker. But do I do that? Doing is important then. If you you have knowledge, you have teaching pedagogy, you have the teaching skills, you are a good human being, you are a noble person, you have humility. These are all virtues of good, great leaders. The next thing comes practice. So actually leadership, if I am to define, I'll say leadership is idealism in practice. So how you put the things in action. That's how a leader becomes successful. Do, see and tell. See and tell. These are the functions. You know, many people may be very good communicators. They know the methods. They know the type of leadership one should have. But when it comes to practice, they may fail. So remember that as a teacher, and why I've spent more time on this diagram, the reason is that if teacher is a person with positivity, with the optimism, with his determination. No, that's very important. Determination. If one is determined, one will achieve the success. But if one is shaky, now what I can guide others, myself. Again, the heroes of wars or in any discipline, you know, the determination, perseverance, हार नहीं मानना, लगे रहना. जैसे थॉमस एडिसन का हमारे पास एग्जांपल है. You know, he failed 9,999 times. It was 10,000th time when, of course, light came, bulb was innovated. Thomas Edison was asked, you know, didn't you feel depressed, disenchanted, frustrated? 9,999 times is too much. हम तो एक बार भी फेलियर हो जाए तो दिल छोड़ देते हैं. 2 बार या 5 बार की बात तो अलग है. पहली बार ही दिल छोड़ देते. He made a very good comment. He said, no, I never failed. No, that is the attitude. What attitude we are carrying? He said, I have never failed. You know, is there any person on the earth who knows 9,999 ways in which bulb cannot be produced? No one knows. But I know. That is optimism. And also example of perseverance. हटना नहीं है, लगे रहना है. Success will be yours. That type of determination, and only then, you know, आज हम जो बल्ब जो हमारे पास में लाइट देता है, अगर थॉमस एडिसन का ये एटीट्यूड नहीं होता तो perhaps humanity would have been in dark. So well, that this type of values, the characteristics, makes one different, and that makes one leader. So practice, that's very important. Now let's come to academic leadership. What is academic leadership? Academic leadership, this occurs in academic settings or institutions. Academic settings or institutions. अभी बहुत से जो participants हैं, they may be lecturers at the first ladder of the academic hierarchy. They may be thinking, how I'm a leader. I go to the class, teach and come back. But I think after the discussion which we were carrying on, you see, we leave some impressions in the mind and heart of the children. One thing is, of course, as I told you, your knowledge, your expertise, and other very important thing is your own value system. So in academic settings, whether you are at the first ladder or you are, maybe coordinating some function or event in the institution or belonging to the category of head or department, principals, vice chancellors or deans, etc. But as a teacher, if I look at the academic leadership, remember, you are a leader in the class, in the corridor, in the campus, as well as in the community. How? Inside the class, now you have to do the class management, classroom management. You see, are you able to take your students together towards one objective or one goal, or what you are dealing with? Classroom management is one important area, which will not come from, what one justice is doing in the court. Order is order. So that doesn't work in the classroom. टीचर चाहे जितना चीखता रहे कि चुप रहो, तो बात नहीं करेगा, लेकिन फिर भी डिस्टर्बेंस हो रही है क्लासरूम के अंदर. The reason is that teacher is not able to manage properly. And this management, as I told you, will come from the discipline, the routine, and what type of climate is created. That's, I think, among these three. Third, climate is very important. आप किस तरह का माहौल क्रिएट करते हैं क्लास के अंदर? Is it a boring? Is it a authoritative? It is congenial, where students enjoy learning. That depends then on your own capabilities or competence. The second thing is curriculum planning in the classroom. How do you plan your content delivery? Content delivery. जो करिकुलम है उसको कैसे आप डिलीवर करते हैं? Are the expected results? So what you want that your students should learn, and with what level of understanding, that will determine the quality of overall education. And third area is instructional strategies. क्लासरूम के अंदर कौन सी स्ट्रेटजी यूज करते हैं? नाउ आजकल आईटी के जमाने में you have many IT tools, you have audio visuals. Rather, teacher has become more a facilitator rather than a lecturer. facilitator. That facilitator, a person who helps the children to understand the means to increase their own understanding or their own knowledge. Because there are so many resources, educational resources available, where one can easily and in a very entertaining manner, one can get education. So classroom sometimes becomes a burden. So the strategies, the devices you use, now it depends on your creativity, your own personality. Student motivation. Learning occurs when one is motivated, one is participating. If one is not participating in learning, learning will not take place. I don't know how many of you are going with me. You see, just one example. In the morning, husband is sleeping and he has bolted the door from within. Wife comes with a cup of tea and knocks the door. Gentleman, get up. No, it is 8 o'clock. And he says, no, 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 I can't leave because, the room is dark and already he's inside the blanket. He says, oh, sorry, it's not morning. She says, no, it's morning. You get up. I brought a cup of tea for you. And he says, okay, then you come in. Wife says, how can I come? You have bolted inside. Okay, you unbolt. Wife says that, okay, I can't unbolt. Only you have to get up. I can guide you that you get up, move towards this direction. About 6 feet you come and there will be a door, unbolt it. She's instructing, but he's not ready. Then he's deprived of a cup of tea and doesn't get up. He's late for the office also. But if he accepts how the wife is guiding him, he gets up, unbolts, and door is open. Then what is he? He sees that there is a brightness, sun has really risen, and gets the cup of tea. This example I am giving you for the reason that if the student is not willing, then no cup of tea. So if here husband is willing and he makes an effort, then he gets cup of tea. So the learner must be inspired, must be motivated. When there is a willingness, learning will be assured. He will be involved. Academic leadership is a process where academic administrators, they direct, inspire, and support the team towards a common goal. So this is happening in the academic environment. Creating an academic environment, one of my friend, he used to talk in a very lighter way and he used to say, well, I want to teach. This is a very noble profession. Teaching is a very noble profession. It's nice to be with the youngsters. But then I asked him that, normally you skips your class, why? Then he said, it's okay, but my head of department is not good. So I don't like him. And I don't want to visit the department when he is sitting there. You see, now it is both head of department as well as the person. Has head of department created that environment? academic environment which is encouraging thinking, creative thinking, imaginative thinking, and there is no bureaucracy. Many times, we teachers may be very good teachers, but not very supportive. In one case, no, head of our department was very, very pleasant, always saying that, okay, you are very good, go ahead, good teacher. But he was very miser in certain cases. Question, these sessions are for sensitivity, sensitization, that we become sensitive to our job, we become sensitive to our students, our environment, our nation. So one day, one lady teacher went to him and told him a good news. Sir, I'm getting married. Of course, he was very happy, said, congratulations, very happy. Have a good life, and all those courteous words. And then next, she said, sir, I also require leave. When is your marriage? The next month. Next month? No, it's not possible. It is this prime period, period for the semester. How you can get a leave? It's not possible. So get your marriage postponed. Thank God he didn't say get it cancelled. So she said, sir, how can I get postponed? After all, priest has fixed the date, time, मुहूर्त सब कुछ हुआ है, तो कैसे हो सकता है? और अगर अभी नहीं होगी तो 5 साल नहीं होगी, कुछ ग्रह ऐसा पड़ रहा है. He said, I don't know. No, I can't give you leave. You can go now. Now see, is it a good leadership style? And this lady teacher coming out, wiping her tears. Colleagues were asking what has happened. And she is full with that agony, the pain inside, and saying that, you see, I have never seen such a person who is very pleasant to talk, but he is not at all empathetic. He doesn't have any empathy. He has no concern for others. So remember here, any academic leader must be having a human heart. And as a teacher, as I told you that even in the classroom, how we deal with our recognizing, supporting outstanding colleagues in teaching and research. So when you become head, you become a principal, well, you must keep these things in mind. Balancing the natural tendency of colleagues to pursue open-ended problems with undertakings that they have clearly specified goals. Working within economic constraints and time frames. That's a challenge in the educational institutions. Because here I'm not only talking about the lecturers or teachers, but also addressing to principals, heads of departments, universities. Now, universities generally, for the higher education, colleges in particular, government colleges, they face the problem of finance. They have to work within the economic constraints. So a good leader has that, you can say, the ability where he can work with the limited resources, recognizing the necessity of having precise outcome criteria. Because ultimately it is the quality of education. So he must focus on that. Effective leader, academic leader must have these characteristics. Leadership in teaching. Now, even if one is principal or vice chancellor, if he doesn't have good communication skills, he's not effective teacher. Let me tell you, he will not be effective leader also, because it is expected. In other fields, maybe we don't expect that he should be a good teacher, but in educational institutions, definitely yes. Leadership in research, he should be good writer, he should be good in research. Strategic vision and networking. Effective academic leader will have a strategic vision. Strategic vision means that he carries with him the vision of the institution. Institution is running with certain vision, and he is able to translate that vision. Collaborative and motivational leadership. You see, a leader is a person who works or who is good in teamwork. Some people individually may be very good, very intelligent or very good researchers, but not group people, not team people, not able to work in the team. So a leader, a good leader, effective leader is always a good team leader. Fair and efficient management. Who provides fair and efficient? You see, not tricks. Because many people, they think that leadership is get work done and go by. शॉर्ट टर्म, बिल्कुल शॉर्ट टर्म अप्रोच होती है. अभी बजट का टाइम है, बजट तैयार करना है, देन बॉस इज आफ्टर यू, प्लीज 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 प्लीज. नैक की टीम आ रही है, तो सबसे सबको बड़े प्यार से ये भी करो वो भी करो, बहुत अच्छे हो. लेकिन कहीं बीच में अगर एक छुट्टी मांग ली तो सिर में दर्द हो जाएगी. सो हियर a good leader, academic leader, will be the one who is collaborative, motivational, as he is fair also, efficient, development and recognition of performance. If one has performed better, must be given reward. एक और हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम में डिफेक्ट है, क्योंकि मैंने गवर्नमेंट यूनिवर्सिटीज में काम किया, सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी में भी काम किया, लेकिन एक बहुत बड़ा डिफेक्ट क्या था कि जो अच्छा परफॉर्मर है उसको कोई अवार्ड नहीं. प्रोविजन है कि ट्रेडिशनल इंक्रीमेंट दी जा सकती है, लेकिन कभी नहीं दी किसी. ऐसे दे देंगे, एक को देंगे, दूसरे को नहीं देंगे. दूसरा यूनियन लीडर है तो मेरी खटिया खड़ी कर देगा वो. So if there is no recognition to the performance, then again, you are not a good leader or you are not doing your job. Interpersonal skills, and he is always optimistic. जैसे मैंने आपसे बात की, तो अभी because we I think we can break for 10 minutes. लेकिन मेरी आपसे रिक्वेस्ट रहेगी, अगर आप में से 2-4 लोग भी बातचीत करेंगे तो अच्छा रहेगा. अभी आप चाय पी के आइए, मैं भी चाय पीता हूँ. ओके, सो वी आर मीटिंग आफ्टर 10 minutes, राइट? अब्दुल, इज इट ओके? मैडम अनीता, you are on the screen. So okay, so we are meeting after 10 minutes, right? हेलो 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 या पार्टिसिपेंट्स प्लीज, आर यू बैक? हेलो। ओके। Well, so let's start. So we were talking about academic leadership and some characteristics. In just summary form, if you look at this diagram, then the whole concept will be clear. In the center, you see the academic leadership. Three main components which will determine effectiveness. One is personal attributes. Personal attributes, yellow. And when about पर्सनल एट्रीब्यूट्स, हमने पहले काफी डिस्कशन की है इसके ऊपर। किस तरह के पर्सनल एट्रीब्यूट्स? कॉग्निटिव कैपेबिलिटीज, यानी उसका नॉलेज, उसकी थिंकिंग, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, एनालिटिकल थिंकिंग, एटसेट्रा। इमोशनल कॉम्पिटेंस, एक बात और मैं आपसे शेयर करना चाहूंगा। एक्चुअली द इफेक्टिवनेस डिपेंड्स मोर ऑन इमोशनल कॉम्पिटेंस। हम कहते हैं कि आदमी बहुत इंटेलिजेंट है लेकिन लाइफ में सक्सेसफुल नहीं हुआ। द मेन रीजन इज इमोशनल इनकॉम्पिटेंस। इफ ए पर्सन इज इमोशनली स्टेबल, is able to manage his emotions properly, well, he will be more successful. बहुत सी रिसर्च जो है वो प्रूव कर चुकी है कि IQ ज्यादा होने से कोई सक्सेस पक्का नहीं है, लेकिन EQ, इमोशनल क्वोशेंट, इमोशनल मैच्योरिटी इज मोर इंपॉर्टेंट इन सक्सेस। तो एक लीडर के पास कॉग्निटिव कैपेबिलिटी भी होनी चाहिए और इमोशनल कॉम्पिटेंस भी होनी चाहिए। आप देख रहे हैं कि इमोशनल कॉम्पिटेंस का एरिया बड़ा है एज कंपेयर टू कॉग्निटिव कैपेबिलिटीज। अगर आप इमोशनली कॉम्पिटेंट हैं तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? यू आर हैविंग मोर टॉलरेंस, मोर पेशेंस, किंग ब्रूस एंड स्पाइडर, यानी लगे रहेंगे, परसिपियरेंस, नॉलेज, एकेडमिक क्रेडिबिलिटी। जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि एक अच्छा एकेडमिक लीडर वो है जिसके अंदर एकेडमिक क्रेडिबिलिटी भी है। दैट अगर आप किसी को भी, किसी IAS या HAS या ऐसे सर्विसेज वाले लोगों को कई बार बना दिया जाता है वाइस चांसलर या एकेडमिक हेड, दे मे नॉट प्रूव वेरी सक्सेसफुल बिकॉज एकेडमिक क्रेडिबिलिटी इज लो। तो एक तरफ तो हमारा पर्सनल एट्रीब्यूट की जो बात मैं आपसे शेयर कर रहा था, हियर यू कैन सी। ऑन द अदर साइड ग्रीन एरिया में देखिए लीडिंग एकेडमिक्स, कि उसकी अपनी एकेडमिक्स में लीडिंग एकेडमिक्स यानी एकेडमिशियंस के को साथ लेके चलने की कैपेसिटी और उनके साथ मिलकर कुछ अचीव करने की उसकी कॉम्पिटेंस। जैसे फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट में उनका योगदान, एकेडमिक फ्रीडम कितना दे पाते हैं वो, और टीचिंग एंड लर्निंग। तो ये तीन एरिया हैं जो उनकी अपने एकेडमिक लीडरशिप की कॉम्पिटेंस को डिटरमिन करेंगे। देन ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल लीडरशिप, और ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल लीडरशिप कैन बी लर्नड, मच ऑफ इट। जैसे अकाउंटेबिलिटी है, आपको क्या काम करना है, क्या काम दिया गया है, आप कितना उसको समझते हैं, डिसीजन मेकिंग में, these things can be learned. How to take decisions, to institutionalizing environmental sustainability. यानी ये सारे जो निटी ग्रिटीज हैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर, जो दो ब्रॉडर एरिया थे, एक एरिया तो था उसका पर्सनल एट्रीब्यूट्स का, जिसको उसकी जॉब से कम लेना देना है। दूसरा अपनी जॉब से रिलेशन है, लेकिन वो कैसे, उसका एक्सपीरियंस कैसा रहा है लीडिंग का। और तीसरा है ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल लीडरशिप, यानी ये उसको इसको हम कहेंगे कि मैनेजमेंट वाला पार्ट है, ये मैनेजमेंट वाला पार्ट है, यानी वो डिसीजन मेकिंग कर सकता है, और डाइवर्सिटी है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर, हाउ ही इज एबल टू मैनेज, वेदर ही अंडरस्टैंड डाइवर्सिटी और नॉट। कुछ लीडर जो हैं वो थोड़े बाइस्ड होते हैं, मे बी कास्ट बेस्ड, रिलीजन बेस्ड, रीजन बेस्ड, जेंडर बेस्ड, so they cannot be effective. That means those who have fairness in their dealing, objectivity in dealing, now they can better do that. So academic leadership का इस तरीके से हम इसको अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हैं। What makes higher education leader? यहाँ 4 पॉइंट दिए गए हैं। पहला है विजन। विजन कि वो अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के विजन को समझता है और उसको आगे लेके चलता है। डिसिप्लिन, takes takes action every day to achieve your organization goal. Accountability, देखिए एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है, एक अकाउंटेबिलिटी। रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हम शेयर कर सकते हैं, लेकिन अकाउंटेबिलिटी आप ही की रहेगी। अगर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का ग्रेड बी आया है तो प्रिंसिपल ये नहीं कह सकता कि रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सब टीचर्स की है, सब ये लोग कोई काम नहीं करता, मैं क्या करूं। नहीं, ये अकाउंटेबिलिटी उसकी है। ओवरऑल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कैन नॉट बी डेलीगेटेड, वो उसी की है। इसलिए यहां, सॉरी, यहां बात हो रही थी कि अकाउंटेबिलिटी को आप नहीं कर सकते। अब जैसे टीचर है, अगर क्लासरूम में है तो उसकी अकाउंटेबिलिटी है कि वो सब्जेक्ट के नॉलेज को स्टूडेंट्स तक पहुंचाए। अगर वो कहे कि स्टूडेंट्स नालायक हैं, स्लो लर्नर हैं, सीरियस नहीं है, ये भी फैक्ट है। बट देन एज ए टीचर लीडर हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है हाउ वी कैन ब्रिंग देम एट दैट प्लेटफॉर्म जहाँ पे वो दे कैन लर्न बेटर। एक अच्छा टीचर वही है ना जो एक स्लो लर्नर है उसको भी थोड़ा ऊपर उठाता है, जो एडवांस लर्नर है उसको और चैलेंज देता है, चैलेंज रखता है। ह्यूमिलिटी, ऑफ कोर्स, ये कहते हैं ना कि जो एक भरा घड़ा है वो छलकता नहीं है। ए मोर नॉलेजेबल पर्सन विल बी मोर हम्बल, मोर नोबल। लेकिन ह्यूमिलिटी कितनी होनी चाहिए, दैट इज, उसकी भी सीमा होनी चाहिए। ह्यूमिलिटी इतनी ज्यादा ना हो दैट लीड्स टू ह्यूमिलिएशन जिंदगी में। हाँ, जैसे मैं एक स्टोरी मुझे ध्यान आ रही है कि देयर वाज वन पर्सन, वन सेंट। तो उसको एक गांव से दूसरे गांव में जा रहा था। रास्ते में उसको कुछ लड़के मिले, उन्होंने कहा कि बाबा आप आगे नहीं जाना, क्योंकि आगे एक कोबरा है। वो जिस रास्ते से आप जाओगे वो कोबरा वहां रहता है, और कोई आज तक बचा नहीं है जिसको उसने डसा नहीं। तो इसलिए आप इस रास्ते से नहीं जाइए, दूसरे रास्ते से जाइए। तो सेंट कहता है कि मैंने तो उसका कुछ बिगाड़ा नहीं है, तो मैं तो उसी रास्ते से जाऊंगा कि अच्छा, लेकिन बाबा वो तो आपको काटेगा। नहीं, मुझे क्यों काटेगा? मैंने उसको कुछ खराब नहीं किया है, ना ही मैं उसको हार्म करूंगा। जब वो जा रहा था तो वहां एक कोबरा एंड शाइनिंग दौड़ता हुआ आया और पूरा फन फैला के काटने वाला ही था। तो सेठ ने कहा, रुक जा, व्हाई यू वांट टू बाइट मी? तो किसी ने आज तक पूछा नहीं था, और इतना कॉन्फिडेंस से, क्योंकि जो भी कोबरे को देखता था वो एकदम घबरा जाता था, रोने लग जाता था, चीखता था। कोबरा उसको काटता था। ये एक नया प्राणी आ गया जो बिल्कुल घबराया नहीं है, और पूछ रहा है कि क्यों काटे हुए मुझे, मैंने तुम्हारा क्या बिगाड़ा है? तो कोबरा सोचने लग गया कि बात तो ये ठीक कर रहे हैं, मैं इन्होंने तो मुझे कुछ नहीं, कोई हार्म नहीं किया। कोबरा जवाब देता है कि सी, जब मैं हिस करता हूं, लोग घबराते हैं, चीखते हैं, रोने लगते हैं, मुझे अच्छा लगता है। और जब मैं बाइट करता हूँ और चीखते हैं, और मैं उनको देखता हूँ जब जहर चढ़ता है उनके अंदर और मरते हुए देखता हूँ, आई फाइंड गुड, मुझे अच्छा लगता है। तो सेठ कहते हैं, वो ये तो बात कुछ बनी नहीं कि इसमें अच्छा है, लगने वाली क्या बात है? कोई मर रहा है और आप कह रहे हैं कि आपको अच्छा लग रहा है। कहते नहीं, मुझे अच्छा लगता है। तो देखो, आपके पास ये शक्ति है, आपके पास ये जहर पॉइजन जो है, आपके पास इतनी एनर्जी है, शक्ति है, इसको आप वेस्ट कर रहे हो, पहली बात। दूसरी बात यह है कि उन्होंने बेचारों ने कुछ ने आपका कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ा। रादर आपको तो एक नोबल पर्सन होना चाहिए, आपके अंदर ह्यूमिलिटी होनी चाहिए, नम्रता होनी चाहिए। तो कोबरा को बात समझ आ गई, बात तो सही है। सेंट चला जाता है। 5-6 महीने के बाद वापस आता है उसी रास्ते से। तो वहां क्या देखता है, जहां वो कोबरा रहता था वहां पे एक, यूं कहिए कि डी शेप्ड टाइप वो सांप पड़ा हुआ है, और उसके ऊपर धूल चढ़ी है, चींटियां लगी हुई हैं। तो वो ऐसे रेंगता हुआ सेंट के पास आता है, और सेंट को कहता है कि मेरा प्रणाम स्वीकार करो। तो तुम कौन हो? कि मैं वही कोबरा हूं ना, जिसने आपको काटने की कोशिश की थी, और आपने मुझे एडवाइस किया था कि नहीं, काटना नहीं चाहिए, अच्छी बात नहीं है। तो मैंने उस दिन से बंद कर दी। कहते, वो तो ठीक है, बंद तो आपने कर दिया, पर जो मैं आपकी हालत देख रहा हूँ ये तो अच्छी नहीं है। अब जो भी आता है वो तुम्हें किक मार के चला जाता है, और ये तुम्हारी ह्यूमिलिटी है क्या? कहते, हाँ, आपने यही सिखाया था। देन सेंट टेल्स हिम, कोबरा जी, मैंने ये कहा था कि डोंट बाइट, मैंने ये नहीं कहा था कि डोंट हिस, है ना? फुंकार मारने के लिए मना नहीं किया था। सो सिमिलरली, अगर तो तुम फुंकार भी नहीं मारोगे और बाइट भी नहीं करोगे, तब तो लोग आपका यही हालत करेंगे जो आपने की हुई है। तो बहुत से लीडर ऐसे हैं, उनकी भी यही हालत हो जाती है। बट लीडर शुड बी हम्बल, बट एट द सेम टाइम, जैसे मैंने आपको ओपनिंग में कहा था, कि इतनी ह्यूमिलिटी ना हो कि आपकी ह्यूमिलेशन हो जाए जैसे कोबरे की हुई। हाँ, इतने भी स्ट्रॉन्ग स्ट्रिंजेंट नहीं होने चाहिए कि आपसे लोग डरें, आपके नजदीक ही ना है, आपसे बात ही ना करें। इसलिए ह्यूमिलिटी is a virtue, but we must use it with common sense, with intelligence. Perseverance. Continue to work towards your goal. रास्ते में जितने भी दिखते हों, उससे घबराना नहीं। विंस्टन चर्चिल की बात चल रही थी, तो जब वो वार जीत गए और वापस आ गए, तो उनको एक फंक्शन में बुलाया गया और उसमें थाउजेंड्स ऑफ पीपल केम कि विंस्टन चर्चिल अपनी सक्सेस स्टोरी बताएंगे कि कैसे उन्होंने वार जीती, क्या किया। ही वॉज कॉल्ड एंड थाउजेंड्स पीपल, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, बिग क्राउड वाज देयर। चर्चिल को बुलाया गया। जब वो पोडियम पे खड़े हैं तो बड़े आराम से उन्हें ओवरकोट पहना है, अपनी स्पेक्स को निकालते हैं, अपना हाथ अपने जेब में जो ओवरकोट है उसके अंदर डालते हैं। वहां से ही टेक्स टाइम, अपना रुमाल निकालते हैं, अपने स्पेक्स को साफ करके लगाते हैं। उसके बाद जब वो देखते हैं कि लोग अभी उनको बड़े क्यूरियोसिटी से देख रहे हैं कि अब ये बोलेंगे क्या, व्हाट इज द सीक्रेट ऑफ विनिंग द वॉर, यही आज होने वाला है। बट ही टेक्स टाइम। वो दूसरा हाथ निकालते हैं और फिर नीचे अपने ओवरकोट के निचली वाली जेब में डालते हैं। वहां से एक छोटी सी स्लिप निकालते हैं, ऐसे जो डी शेप जैसी है, उसको लेते हैं, खोलते हैं स्लिप को बड़े आराम से और पोडियम के ऊपर रखते हैं। इट हैज टेकन अबाउट 5 मिनट्स। ऑडियंस धैर्य खो रही है, कब बोलेंगे। तो वो उसको पकड़ के स्लिप को फिर पढ़ते हैं। ही स्पोक 5 वर्ड्स। 5 शब्द बोले उन्होंने और उसके बाद थैंक्स करके चले आए। ऑडियंस कंटिन्यू टू क्लैप फॉर 15 मिनट्स, जब तक विंस्टन चर्चिल जा भी चुके। ना व्हाट वर दोज 5 वर्ड्स? क्या वो 5 वर्ड्स हमारी डिक्शनरी में नहीं है? दे आर देयर। व्हाट वर दीज 5 वर्ड्स? दीज 5 वर्ड्स वर, एक्चुअली 5 नहीं थे, वो 3 ही थे। नेवर, नेवर, नेवर गिव अप। नेवर, नेवर, नेवर गिव अप। कभी छोड़ो नहीं, अपने गोल के लिए डटे रहो। दिस वॉज द सीक्रेट। नाउ दीज वर्ड्स हैड मीनिंग when they were spoken by Winston Churchill because he lived with these words. तभी मैंने आपको पहले जो बी डू टेल की बात की थी, तो फर्स्ट बी and then definitely impact will be there. So perseverance. Now coming to the other very important part, जो अभी मैंने लीडरशिप की, एकेडमिक लीडरशिप की बात की, इसके साथ 2 टर्म्स जो मैनेजमेंट और गवर्नेंस की बात है। हायर एजुकेशन के मैनेजमेंट में, कि गवर्नेंस में, कि रेगुलेशन में, देर आर सर्टन वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट चैलेंजेस और इश्यूज जिनके आप के ऊपर मैं थोड़ी सी आई विल ट्राई टू थ्रो लाइट ऑन दैट। पहली बात तो है नेशनल एजेंडा NEP 2020, जहां पे ये एक्सपेक्ट किया जा रहा है, नाउ इफ वी वांट टू हैव वर्ल्ड क्लास यूनिवर्सिटीज, वर्ल्ड क्लास एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस, actually we must have world class management also, world class management too. So in NEP it is very clearly mentioned that who is to rule and who will be the academic administrators. And then there are certain regulatory system which will govern the education institutions. Regulatory system, see, in India, there are a number of institutions which are regulating, which are monitoring, managing the education system, funding. So different functions like UGC, like AICTE, NCTE. ऐसे there are about 15-16 councils जो अलग अलग एरिया के जो नॉलेज है, फील्ड्स हैं, उनको रेगुलेट कर रही हैं, मॉनिटर कर रही हैं, फंडिंग कर रही हैं. NEP says that now because of this multiplicity, see, some institutions are suffering. There is no equity, there are not similar type of rules or regulations. UGC का अपने डफली है और AICTE की अपनी है, तो सभी अपनी अपनी डफली, अपने अपना राग चल रहा है. So the quality of education is suffering. Therefore, now what is recommended is regulatory system has to be changed. So the 4 functions are to be done separately. The function of regulation, the function of accreditation or assessment, the function of funding, and standard of education, or you can say the academic standards, etc. So now it is mentioned that there will be one Higher Education Commission of India. Sorry, it's not a council, it is a commission. Higher Education Commission of India. So this will be umbrella institution. Under Higher Education Commission of India, there will be 4 verticals. One is National Higher Education Regulatory Council. So all streams of education will be regulated by this council. Second will be National Accreditation Council, NAC. अभी हमारे पास है NAAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, which is assessing and accrediting general education or even technical education. But for technical education, there is a separate agency, NIRF, or done by AICTE. Now, actually, NEP says that there should not be multiplicity of the institutions. So let there be one National Accreditation Council, and National Accreditation Council may have some more regulatory accreditation councils, so that all institutions, they are assessed and accredited. And third is Higher Education Grants Council for funding. So all types of education institutions will apply to this council. And fourth is General Education Council. So the existing councils will be nothing but falling under this category, under the General Education Council. So there will be other councils like, UGC looking after general education, AICT looking after the technical education. So all different types of councils, they will come under this category. Their main job will be to look into the standards of curriculum, setting of parameters, how the education will be imparted in different streams. So these 4 verticals are there. But now, what has happened? Although it is mentioned that these are four main functions, because these four main functions were done by every council, like UGC, regulation, accreditation, funding, academic standard setting, सारा काम करेगी. ऐसे ही AICTE, ऐसे ही NCTE. Now NEP says no, let these four functions be different, as I told you, under four verticals. और regulation के अंदर there are some very strict instructions to be followed by all education institutions. So it is a tight, but at the same time, given autonomy to the institutions, to the governments. So light and tight structure. One important feature of the new regulation is that public and private higher education system will be governed by the same set of rules. At present, you see, deemed to be universities, private universities, government universities, central universities, specialized institutions, universities. Then we have institutions of excellence like IIMs, IITs, plethora of institutions. Now, these all should be standardized and they must be governed by the same rules. Another thing which has been done, that standalone institutions, for example, there is one engineering institution, so imparting only BE or BTech degrees. But now NEP says no, they should also impart other types of degrees in general education also. So there should not be stand-alone institution or university. There should be multidisciplinary, multidimensional institutions covering all types of curriculum. Now there are certain challenges for management. आप हैरान होंगे, हैरान होने की कोई बात नहीं है, because we are living in India, anything can happen in India. Now this policy came in 2020, and then time and again, even today, this program is a sensitization program in connection with the NEP. That people must be knowing, must be doing. You adopted new NEP, but the main thing which has not been done, that is establishment of Higher Education Commission of India, or four verticals. Until these four verticals and the commission is established, well, other things cannot move. Maybe, it is moving, chal raha hai, but what is expected, we cannot achieve that. So सबसे बड़ा management challenge जो हमारे सामने है, that is multidisciplinary and holistic development. I don't know to what extent your institutions have adopted NEP, but in many state governments or many universities, one thing they have done, that is they have increased the time of doing graduation. So now from 3 years, it is 4 years, and then we say that we have implemented NEP. But that is only one point. Multidisciplinarity, that you see people must cut across the discipline. If you are doing science, you must have some subjects from the arts or social sciences or performing arts. It says that, well, there is no hard separation in the subject study. Curricular, co-curricular, extracurricular, vocational, academic stream, etc. So all are interrelated and they are to be offered as a package to every student. Flexibility is the fundamental principle. So on the one side, you see, we are trying to design a system which is very stringent, very tight, but at the same time, we are expecting flexibility. So a lot of flexibility. Now आप imagine करिए कि मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी की बात हो रही है, क्या हमारे पास इतने रिसोर्सेस हैं, क्या हमारे पास इतनी फैकल्टी है which can cope up with a workload. That is ideal thinking. वो एक आदर्शवाद देता है. I think there are a number of problems when we come to this managing these all aspects. Integration and coordination of holistic development. So integration or coordination not only at the institution level, लेकिन अगर कॉलेज है तो उसको इंटीग्रेट करना है स्कूल के साथ, यूनिवर्सिटी के साथ. Ensure unity and integrity of all knowledge. So these are all challenges. हम कह रहे हैं कि बच्चों में क्रिएटिविटी पैदा हो, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग हो, मल्टी लिंग्विस्टिक उनका कम्युनिकेशन, पावर ऑफ लैंग्वेज, लाइफ स्किल्स, ये सारा इतना सारा झमेला स्टूडेंट के सामने खड़ा कर दिया है. आई डोंट नो व्हाट विल हैपन. प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट में काफी डिफिकल्टी जिन इंस्टीट्यूशंस ने सीरियसली अडॉप्ट करने की कोशिश की है, दे आर फेसिंग टू एनकरेज इनोवेशन एंड आउट ऑफ बॉक्स आइडियाज. सो क्रिएटिविटी की जब हम बात करते हैं, नई बात सोचें, नया काम करें, कुछ सेल्फ रिलायंस की बात हो, स्किल डेवलपमेंट की बात हो. अब नाउ देयर इज अ चैलेंज फॉर द गवर्नेंस. इन सब चीजों को कैसे मैनेजमेंट, इंस्टीट्यूशन के मैनेजमेंट कर पाएंगे? नो दैट्स ए चैलेंज. इफेक्टिव लीडरशिप एंड मैनेजमेंट स्किल्स. सबसे बड़ा जो एक हमारे सामने एक ब्लॉकेड है. I don't know to what extent you will agree with me. If you don't agree, okay, you can say you don't agree. You see, most of the institutions are not managed by people who are competent. बहुत सी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स में कॉलेज, गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज के टीचर, प्रिंसिपल्स, they become principals by promotion. So one day he was a fine teacher, very good teacher of mathematics or any subject, chemistry or history. Next day he becomes a principal. क्या ओवरनाइट उसको मैनेजमेंट स्किल्स आ जाएंगी? क्या ओवरनाइट उसके अंदर लीडरशिप क्वालिटीज आ जाएंगी जो एक्सपेक्टेड है? बिकॉज ऑन द वन साइड मैनेजमेंट इज ऑल्सो टेक्निकल, मैनेजमेंट इज ऑल्सो डीलिंग विद पीपल. अब एक व्यक्ति जो केमिकल्स के साथ ही डील करता रहा, अभी उसको अगले दिन ही नाउ इज थ्रोन ओपन, एक उसको नदी में फेंक दिया गया है. अब पैरो मैनेज, सो फैकल्टी, स्टूडेंट्स, इतना बड़ा झमेला उसको मैनेज करना है. लीडरशिप स्किल्स हैव नॉट बीन डेवलप्ड. दैट्स द चैलेंज. ऑल्दो पॉलिसी के अंदर मेंशन किया गया है दैट ओके सेंसिटाइज देम, ऑर्गेनाइज डिफरेंट प्रोग्राम्स. इवन द अपॉइंटमेंट्स के बारे में मेंशन किया गया है कि जो ऑल लीडरशिप पोजीशंस शुड बी फिल्ड अप बाय हाई एकेडमिक क्वालिफिकेशंस एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एंड लीडर कैपेबिलिटीज. आई एम शेयरिंग यू विथ वेरी वेरी फ्रैंक, and I think in academics, if we are not frank or we are not telling the truth, we are doing dishonesty. So as a part of that honesty, I'm sharing with you that most of whatever we say in the policy, that these positions must be occupied by people who are academically bright and administrative and leadership wise, they are competent, they have experience, or they are well trained. It is not so. And that is why I think NEP is also not being implemented in the true spirit, because the people are not competent. Most of the positions are filled up, you know it, by political pressures or ideologies. Each education is the victim in this country. In the administration, perhaps there is IAS, they come to UPSC and they get a rotation, they work in different fields. But as far as education is concerned, one person who is a lecturer becomes a vice chancellor. That is also happening in this country. So how he can really manage Perhaps he doesn't know even, what is academic council, what is executive council, what is court, and what are the different bodies. So I think that is a challenge for India. If one doesn't have a ability to manage complex situations, कितना unrest education institutions में रहता है. Are we really able to manage that? Demonstrate strong alignment to constitutional values and overall vision of the institution. So these are the challenges for the academic leadership, for that matter, the management and governance. जैसे मैंने गवर्नेंस के बारे में बताया कि एक रेगुलेटरी जो मैकेनिज्म है वो ही नहीं हो पा रहा है, और एक बहुत बड़ी हर्डल है कि एनईपी के अगेंस्ट भी सम स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स, बिकॉज दिस इज इन द कंकरेंट लिस्ट, so central government cannot impose as such. So even the government of Karnataka, they have constituted their own committee for educational policy. So that way, India, I don't know to what extent, but anyhow, policy is good. No doubt in that. It is not that earlier policies were not good. Kothari Commission in 1968, the policy which came is equally good. 86 policy was very good. So every time, we have a good policies, but when it comes to implementation, that even after 4 years, we are not able to restructure or make our regulatory system robust and objective. Well, this sensitization which is happening, I don't know to what extent we are doing justice with that. So sustainable development is another area. Learners' expectations. Now the greatest challenge before you, me, government, NEP is dealing with Generation Z. I'm sure you understand this Generation Z, particularly those who are born after 1994. Now, all those are in the higher education. This generation is much different from your generation and a class apart from my generation, of course. If I am to ask, what type of this education, this generation is, how would you comment? How do you, because any policy, any education should cater to the needs of the students. That's our client. If our system is not fulfilling their aspirations, then that is inefficient or not serving the nation. Can you give some comments on the present generation, student generation के बाद? आप सभी आप डील करते हैं, आपका क्या ओपिनियन है? How do you look at your students? What are their aspirations? What is their behavior? Only then we can talk about the compatibility of education policy with them. May I have some comments from you? Yes, please. You can just write on the screen also. How do you respond? Yes. Very right. Things should finish quickly. They are in a hurry. too much dependency on the technology. Yeah, very true. It is number of studies, because particularly the business organization, corporate world is very much interested to know the behavior of this generation, because that is going to form their main manpower, number one, and second is the market. So these studies show that on an average 7 to 10 hours they are with the technology. One very interesting cartoon I was just going through. उस कार्टून में one college boy talking to his friend, वो कह रहा है कि कल रात बिजली नहीं थी, इसलिए मोबाइल नहीं चल पाया, इंटरनेट नहीं चल रहा था, तो थोड़ी देर के लिए मैं अपने परिवार के सदस्यों के साथ बातचीत कर रहा था। अगला सेंटेंस उसका है, वो भी अच्छे लोग हैं यार। So you see, this generation doesn't have time. Very rightly, one response is coming saying that they want multidisciplinary approach in the education with freedom to learn little things from different fields as per the need. Very rightly said. कि डेप्थ में नहीं जाना चाहते, सीरियसनेस, और कुछ कंपल्शन भी है। एक्चुअली इस जनरेशन की, हर एक जनरेशन की अपनी कंपल्शन रही है। एनवायरनमेंट कैसा है, सोसाइटी किस तरह की है। अब जो लोग इंडिपेंडेंस से पहले पैदा हुए या एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस में थे, उनकी थिंकिंग डिफरेंट है। जैसे हमारी जनरेशन है, हमारी जनरेशन के लोग सेल्फ रिलायंट हुए। सेल्फ रिलायंट, जो भी किया खुद ही किया, खुद करना पड़ता था, क्योंकि देयर इज नो अदर हेल्प और हेल्पिंग एनवायरमेंट। जैसे मैं एक एग्जांपल आपसे शेयर करूं, पीएचडी करी, तो पीएचडी के लिए आपके पास ऑनलाइन तो पेपर्स हैं नहीं अवेलेबल। अभी आपको शिमला से चंडीगढ़, दिल्ली, कलकत्ता, एंड पर्टिकुलरली व्हेन आई वाज वर्किंग इन इंटरनेशनल मार्केटिंग, तो काफी घूमना पड़ता था। आज जरूरत नहीं है। और फिर वो जो कार्ड्स बनाते थे, कहीं एक मिस हो गया, एक रेफरेंस मिस हो गया, तो घंटों आपके बर्बाद हो गए। इवन जब टाइपिंग की बात आई, तो एक पेज में अगर 2-3 गलतियां होगी तो उसको फिर टाइप करो। फोटोस्टेट नहीं था, मल्टीपल कॉपीज बनाओ। यानी कितना टाइम लगता था और कितना वेस्ट होता था, यू कैन से रिसोर्सेज ऑल्सो। बट टुडे all those things can be done easily by just with the help of technology. तो क्या हो गया, अब इजी आदत भी हो गई कि हाँ, ये इसका तो सोल्यूशन सीधा सा है, ये मिल जाएगा यहाँ पे। अभी ऑनलाइन एग्जामिनेशन होते हैं तो क्या होता है, बहुत से लोग जो है वो उसमें नकल कर लेते हैं, बड़े आराम से कर लेते हैं। और एक कमेंट आया कि दे आर लेस हार्ड वर्किंग। हार्ड क्यों क्यों है, वाई दिस इज सो? क्योंकि इजीली अवेलेबल हो जाता है। दे आज की जनरेशन बड़ी क्विक है। अभी हमारे लिए तो एक टेंशन हो जाती थी कि अरे रिजर्वेशन करवानी है तो लाइन में लगना पड़ेगा, टाइम पे जाएंगे तो लाइन में लगेंगे, या छुट्टी तो नहीं है वो भी देखना पड़ेगा। लाइन देखते थे, पसीना आ जाता था कि इतने मिलेगी रिजर्वेशन, नहीं मिलेगी। नो, आपके पास इतने रिसोर्सेज हैं, आप उसी वक्त ऑनलाइन आपको मिल जाएगा। देन देर आर मेनी एजेंसीज विच आर अवेलेबल। तो हार्ड वर्क क्यों करना, जब इजिली अवेलेबल है, देन वी गो बाय दैट। यू आर राइट, व्हेन इंफॉर्मेशन इज अवेलेबल। अब देखिए, टीचिंग इज ऑल्सो बिकमिंग वेरी चैलेंजिंग। अभी मैं कोई बात पीछे एक लेक्चर में बात कर रहा था, And one participant immediately, he referred to Google and said, no, no, sir, it is not like this. This date you have mentioned is wrong. और जब वो ये कह रहा था, मैंने भी अपने मोबाइल से निकाल के वो देखा, तो यस, आई वाज रॉन्ग. सो नो, प्रिसीजन, ऑब्जेक्टिविटी, इंफॉर्मेशन वेरी इजीली अवेलेबल. तो ये जनरेशन जो है, अगर मैं पॉजिटिव डायमेंशन को देखूं, तो मुझे लगता है कि इस जनरेशन से हमारी होप भी ज्यादा है और आउटपुट भी ज्यादा हो रही है. अभी हाँ, एक्सप्लॉइटेशन जरूर है. आजकल के यंग मैन वुमेन आई हैव सीन वर्किंग फॉर 8 to 10 आवर्स तो मिनिमम है प्राइवेट सेक्टर में. हाँ, थोड़ा सा पैसा ज्यादा मिल जाता है, लेकिन लुक एट देयर क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ. एक हाथ में बर्गर है, दूसरे हाथ में कोको कोला है, और लैपटॉप साथ में है, और कानों में ये ईयरफोन्स है. यानी सोशल लाइफ. और एक जो, अगर किसी को कोई रिलीजन तो भूल ही जाइए, दे आर लेस रिलीजियस. वो कहते हैं क्या, व्हाई शुड आई वेस्ट टाइम गोइंग टू द टेम्पल. आंखें बंद करके क्या सोच रहे हो, क्या मेडिटेशन, दिस ऑल वेस्टेज ऑफ टाइम. सो नई जनरेशन की कुछ दुविधाएं हैं, कुछ टाइम ऐसा है, समय है टेक्नोलॉजी के जमाने में. और जो कल्चरल फ्यूजन जो हुआ है अभी, जो ब्रेकिंग ऑफ आवर इवन फैमिली स्ट्रक्चर, जॉइंट फैमिली सिस्टम एग्जिस्ट नहीं कर रहा है. रिश्ते दूर दूर के हो गए. चिल्ड्रन सर्विंग समवेयर एल्स, ओल्ड पेरेंट्स, who is bothering about them. So there are many things which are happening and their expectations. But जहां तक जनरेशन Z की है, उनकी एक्सपेक्टेशन इतनी हाई है, दे वांट टू बी मिलियनियर इन वेरी शॉर्ट टाइम. और इधर उधर हाथ पैर बहुत मार रहे हैं. तो मल्टी मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरिटी की, जैसे अभी वन पार्टिसिपेंट रिस्पॉन्डर, एक और अच्छा कमेंट जो है, सिंस ऑल इंफॉर्मेशन इजीली अवेलेबल, स्टूडेंट्स हैव लेस एम्फेसिस ऑन फेस टू फेस लर्निंग. सो इन द क्लासरूम दे आर लेस इंटरेस्टेड. और इसलिए अब क्या है, एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज जो टीचर्स के लिए, एकेडमिक लीडरशिप डजंट मीन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एस्पेक्ट. इसकी मैं बार बार ये बात कर रहा हूँ कि हमें अपनी पेडागोजी को भी चेंज करना है. अभी क्लासरूम का इंटरेक्शन जो पहले होता था कि हम क्लास में पढ़ाते थे और कहते थे इन नोट्स के बेसिस के ऊपर टुमारो विल हैव ए डिस्कशन. नो, इट हैज रिवर्स्ड, जिसको हम फ्लिप्ड क्लासरूम कहते हैं. वो फ्लिप्ड क्लासरूम क्या है? फ्लिप्ड क्लासरूम यानी आप घर में ही पढ़ेंगे, घर में पढ़ के आइए, क्लासरूम इज फॉर डिस्कशन ओनली. सो देखिए, रिवर्स हो गया सारा रिलेशनशिप में. पर्टिकुलरली कोरोना ने बहुत चेंज कर दिया. अभी जो ये सेशन हो रहा है, एंड हियर यू नो more than 100, I see what 106 participants are there. ये पॉसिबल ही नहीं था कि पूरे देश के लोग ऐसे इकट्ठे होके वी आर इंटरेक्टिंग. और फिर हम ये भी कहते थे कि विदाउट फेस टू फेस इंटरेक्शन सेंसिटाइजेशन नहीं हो सकती. बट टेक्नोलॉजी हैज मेड इट पॉसिबल. टेक्नोलॉजिकल डिसरप्शंस, टेक्नोलॉजी ने जो चीजें अनहोनी थी उनको भी होनी कर दिया है. सो naturally these all challenges are before us. टीचिंग पेडागोजी, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, उसके चेंज हो रहे हैं. रिसोर्सेस, देयर इज अ डेप्थ ऑफ रिसोर्सेस, पर्टिकुलरली जब हम गवर्नेंस की बात कर रहे हैं. ऑल गवर्नमेंट यूनिवर्सिटीज, कॉलेजेस, मैं एक जनरलाइज स्टेटमेंट दे रहा हूँ, they are suffering because of shortage of funds. Those who are from the government institutions, they know it. And those who are from the private, again, there are different categories. In one category, there is no shortage of funds, but in other, again, they are starving of funds. And then staff is paid very low. Resources. How can academic leader can manage in such situations? It's a great challenge. Global aspirations and competition. Now, global universities are also coming. So that competition naturally is a challenge to the management. Now, how to ensure such things? Lifelong learning, shift from instructional leadership, learning culture, motivating learners, knowledge economy. हम कहते हैं कि सुपर पावर बनना है हमने. तो सुपर पावर के लिए we need very very effective leaders, very outstanding leaders to produce future leaders, act role models, servant leader, transparent. These are different categories of leaders. अगर हम चाहते हैं और चाहते ही हैं, naturally India would like to be superpower, as you know, time and again this slogan is repeated that we want to be 5 trillion economy on all that, and also we want to be superpower, knowledge superpower. Well, I think much is to be done. Without good leaders, you can't. Going beyond the routines. So we have to think differently, work differently, all educational leaders. Value-driven vision. See, without value, without character, I think all things will vanish. वो एक रेत की ढेर की तरह रेत का एक महल बना लीजिए. In seconds it will fall down. Similarly, अगर हम हमारा अपना जैसे आपने देखा है, even the Western countries, you know, they are facing the problem of values. Materially, they are very rich, but where is the time for them to have a happy life, good life, healthy life? And same thing we are following, which is very dangerous. So, although this document says that we have to protect our tradition, our thought has to be promoted like that. Another challenge in our education institution is the diversity. Word is simple. Diversity इतनी ज्यादा है क्लासरूम के अंदर, इंस्टीट्यूशंस के अंदर. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि अगर कैटेगरीज ही देखें कि कितने तरह की यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, कितने तरह के कॉलेज हैं, उसके अंदर किस तरह के सब्जेक्ट हैं, स्टूडेंट्स की डाइवर्सिटी अगर देखें, तो आई थिंक दैट इज द हाईएस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड. एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज हमारे सामने है, दैट इज वर्क कल्चर. आई एम सॉरी टू से दैट, well, we Indians are still suffering with slavery psyche. Slavery psyche means when I do something, I do because of fear from my boss, from my master. If master is not there, then I say, okay, तो मैं फ्री हो गया, फ्रीडम. ये साइकिल अभी भी कैरी ऑन हो रहा है. दूसरा कि मैं क्यों काम करूं, यानी क्यों करूं. एक दास ऐसे सोचता है मैं क्यों करूं, बट ए ऑटोनोमस पर्सन will say that, well, I have to work for the good of my society, for my people, for my nation. I was in Singapore. Normally, no, in India, we start criticizing A, B, C, the transport system है तो उसको criticize करेंगे. अगर 2 मिनट लेट हो जाए बस तो कहेंगे देखा, ये है ना हिंदुस्तानी कल्चर. We are very liberal. in making such comments on our people, our society, our country. In Singapore, we were traveling by one taxi, and we asked him about, the people there and all that. And he was full of patriotism, driver. तो हमने कहा भी शॉपिंग के लिए विच इज द बेस्ट प्लेस, क्योंकि हिंदुस्तानियों को तो ऐसी जगह चाहिए जहाँ पे एक बार्गेनिंग हो। तो उसने बड़ा स्टाइरिकली कहा, कहते जी वो जो इंडियन मार्केट है, हाँ वहाँ बार्गेनिंग तो वहाँ होती है, बट आई कैन टेल यू द बेस्ट मार्केट्स वेयर यू कैन गो and you believe that whatever product you are buying is of quality, genuine quality. So much proud about his country, so much proud about his culture. But why it is lacking? Because of, as I told you, that still we think that government is something different, I am something different. So this culture, work culture in India needs attention, and particularly in the educational institutions. Personal and professional life, the balance. As I told you that in the private universities, I've seen many of my students and other colleagues frustrated that they are not only teaching but doing all administrative work, all clerical work, and fed up, not able to live the life properly. On the other side, less work, more salary. That's also happening in this country. So well, now I stop here, and I think you can put some questions or any comments if you have. We have 15-20 minutes. Sir, when this is a very genuine question. Sir, when is NEP going to be implemented? Well, I think no one knows. No one knows, because as I told you, still until this regulatory system is properly established, we are not expecting. And the political scenario, where I told you that because education is in concurrent list, so the state governments ruled by opposition or other parties, are not responding very positively. So maybe because certain things, of course, with the optimism we can move ahead. That is, something has started happening, that at least people are becoming sensitive, and they are moving, of course, towards having something to be implemented. Sir, National Medical Commission come under Higher Education Commission of India. No, actually, medical has not been included in the NEP. Yes, please. Any other views or? Some of your experiences, because deliberately I have left this time for you. No, you are coming from different states. Can any person coming from the state where NEP has been implemented? Any institution? If implemented, to what extent? Yes, any comment? There is one question from the Nupur. Sir, my question is, if we have so many issues with the quality of leadership, or we are going to work on grassroots level, red tapeism will still be there. NEP seems like just another tall claim. I fully agree with you. You see, the seriousness with which this policy came up, with the you can say the rigorous process which was followed, and in a very small document of about 60 pages, every word is so heavy, and it has so much deep meaning. We were expecting that the things will be implemented soon, but things are getting delayed, and the main reason is governance or the management. And here, you see, until political support is there, that politicians do not interfere in the education institutions, then there is a scope, and there are certain set norms or rules, जैसे लिखा गया है नीति के अंदर, that the people with the competence, with the administrative abilities and high academic credentials will be considered for the academic positions or management positions. लेकिन वो हो नहीं रहा है, कुछ जगह हो रहा है लेकिन लार्जली नहीं हो रहा है, तो उसका इम्पैक्ट भी विजिबल नहीं हो रहा है. अभी जैसे आया था सर, मोस्ट ऑफ अस आर इन द फेज ऑफ करिकुलम फ्रेमिंग एज पर एनईपी. गुड, दैट्स नाइस. क्योंकि अभी अगर जनरल काउंसिल बन गई होती, जनरल एजुकेशन काउंसिल अगर बन गई होती, तो ये प्रॉब्लम खत्म हो जानी थी. तब आपको बनाने की जरूरत नहीं थी. वी वुड हैव गॉट वेरी डिटेल्ड करिकुलम. अभी भी यूजीसी ने करिकुलम बना रखा है अलग अलग कोर्सेज पर, लेकिन वो डाइवर्सिटी को कंसीडर नहीं करता, डाइवर्सिटी को कैटर नहीं करता है. तो एक टेलर मेड करिकुलम कैन नॉट वर्क इन दिस कंट्री, isn't it? Sir, do you think multidisciplinary approach really will work, or it will create a situation as a jack of all trades, master of none? You see, multidisciplinary, of course, एक बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है. लेकिन एक चीज कि जरा सोचें, लाइफ के लिए, एक अच्छा जीवन जीने के लिए, क्या एक ही तरह का नॉलेज, एक तरह की एक्सपर्टीज कैन मेक ए लाइफ हैप्पी लाइफ और हेल्दी लाइफ? जैसे हम कहते हैं ना कि अच्छी हेल्थ के लिए नेचुरली यू शुड हैव न्यूट्रिशियस फूड. तो क्या न्यूट्रिशन से ही आप हेल्दी रहेंगे? फिर आप कहते हैं नहीं नहीं, आपको सैर भी करनी चाहिए. नहीं, सैर करने से ही हो जाएगा? नहीं, फिर कहेंगे कुछ योगा भी करें. फिर कहेंगे ओके, यू शुड लाफ, यू शुड हैव सोशल लाइफ ऑल्सो. सो सारी लाइफ ही मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी है. एक, यू कैन बी वेरी गुड साइंटिस्ट, लेकिन अगर सेंसिटिविटी नहीं है, सेंसिटाइजेशन नहीं है, यू विल बिकम ए डेंजरस साइंटिस्ट। तो आप जो लोग हैं, इंसान है, आपके लिए एक गाजर और मूली की तरह होगा। फिर आप एटम बम बना देंगे, आप पॉइजन बना देंगे। बट इफ यू आर सेंसिटिव, हाउ यू विल बिकम सेंसिटिव? व्हेन आपका जो दूसरा सोशल डायमेंशन है वो भी इंप्रूव होता है। अभी तक हमारी एजुकेशन में एक बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट डायमेंशन है जिसको हम कहते हैं कि दिस इज योर प्राइवेट, जबकि वो एजुकेशन का इंटीग्रल पार्ट है। दैट इज द डेवलपमेंट, इट इज नॉट ओनली डेवलपमेंट ऑफ बॉडी एंड माइंड। जो अभी तक हमारी एजुकेशन दो ही एस्पेक्ट को कवर कर रही है हमारी पर्सनालिटी की। Our third very important dimension, which is my inner self. So that inner जो सेल्फ है, जिसको आप कुछ भी कहिए, कॉन्शियसनेस कहिए, चेतना कहिए, बियॉन्ड माइंड, उसको आत्मा कहिए, स्पिरिट कहिए, whatever name you give, but we know that that is a very important dimension. उस डायमेंशन को हम एजुकेशन में कहीं भी, और वेस्टर्न एजुकेशन में की भी वही दिक्कत है। और हम ये कहते हैं कि नो नो, क्योंकि जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल वैल्यू है दैट इज एवरीथिंग। लेकिन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन वैल्यू फ्रॉम वेयर इट कम्स, ऑनेस्टी फ्रॉम वेयर इट विल कम, है ना। जब हम डिफाइन करेंगे सुपरफ्लुअस लेवल पे, मे बी एट द माइंड लेवल वी डील विद दैट, बट अंटिल वी अंडरस्टैंड आवर सेल्फ एंड वी अंडरस्टैंड एवरी बीइंग, दैट एजुकेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। मैं यहाँ पे एक उदाहरण दूंगा। इंडियन स्क्रिप्चर्स में एक ऋषि हुए उदालक, उनके एक बेटे थे श्वेत केतु। तो उनको वो चाहते थे कि शुड गेट द हाईएस्ट नॉलेज। ही सेंट टू अनदर ऋषि, क्योंकि जो हमारे पूरा एजुकेशन सिस्टम था उसके इंटीग्रल एजुकेशन थी, बॉडी माइंड एंड सोल की एजुकेशन इंटीग्रल। वी आर नॉट सेपरेट, ये नहीं हो सकता है कि मैं घर में रिलीजियस हूँ। रिलीजियस का मतलब क्या है? रिलीजन आई डोंट मीन हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख ईसाई। Religion, I mean to say the way of life, the way of living, the way of thinking, the understanding of the self. तो अल्टीमेटली उसमें जब हम ये देखते हैं कि the same consciousness is in you, same is with me, then my relationship will become more fair and acceptable. तो सारी एजुकेशन वो पढ़ाई जाती थी, और 64 टाइप्स की एजुकेशन थी, 64 टाइप्स ऑफ डिसिप्लिन्स वर देयर। Now this gentleman comes back. He says, I have got a degree now. Convocation भी हो गया. Now Udalak asked him, have you got that education after which you don't require any other education? And he was silent. No, I have not got that. So you go back and get that education. So ultimately, there must be something which is beyond psychology, philosophy, psyche, and we understand it. Every Indian understands it. But we are not able to arrive at, yes, in constitution it is written, but source we are not touching. Source we are not touching. So ultimately, the whole wisdom lies in getting holistic education. Word holistic education तो लिख लिया, इंटीग्रल एजुकेशन लिख लिया, लेकिन उसके लिए हम जब तक वो नहीं करेंगे तो करेक्टर भी हमारा सुपरफ्लुअस ही होगा। जैसे अभी है, हम जितने अभी आप इलेक्शंस हैं, अब आप देख रहे हैं किस तरह के हाउ कई बार दुख होता है कि आफ्टर सच नंबर ऑफ इयर्स ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस हम लोग अभी भी जंगली हैं, जंगल भर की बातें कर रहे हैं। क्या फायदा हमारी एजुकेशन का? वी आर नॉट सेंसिटिव टू ह्यूमन बीइंग्स, वी आर नॉट सेंसिटिव टू द सोसाइटी, to the country, to the people, to the creation. So these all things are very fundamental. I hope that, of course, in this new educational policy, these things have been touched. But how effectively, I don't know, only future will tell. Beginning has been made. We are getting, you are also getting sensitized. I'm also getting sensitized. I think naturally a category of people, a class of people have started thinking that we are a nation and we have more potential, we have more capabilities, we have more technical manpower from every field. Eastern philosophy, Westerners are getting attracted to our philosophy, our thinking. And most of in all big universities in the West, you see the Eastern philosophy is being taught, and they find solace in that. Anyhow, this was a fundamental question that, well, what will happen? We will have a jack of all trades, but master of none. So my answer was that we should have holistic knowledge. Yes, by keeping holistic knowledge, you can be specialist in one particular field. इसको रोक नहीं सकते, लेकिन क्योंकि लाइफ ही इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी है, तो हमें एक अच्छा बैलेंस अगर हम कर पाएंगे, a good scientist should become also good social scientist, socially sensitive. इसी तरह से social scientist must have his base in the science, in the scientific temper. Okay. Anything, anyhow, whatever I thought I shared with you. Maybe you don't agree. So if you don't agree, please try to seek the answers. Thank you for your comments. I'm seeing so encouraging comments, and I wish for all of you a good future, because future lies with you. And hope that all of you become good academic leaders, so that the future, because I've seen, very good colleges, A-grade colleges becoming B-grade college because of leadership. And also seen that C-grade college becoming A-grade institution because of leadership. So leadership makes a lot of difference. Okay, so I think we can call the day. Thank you very much. Right? Dr. Abdul is there? Okay, thank you very much. So we close the session, and I wish you all the best. Good health, be happy, enjoy life. Thank you very much.